Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Daniel Sloverland. Many of you heard my story before, and I won't go into all those details today. But let's talk about Bill 494. I'm supportive of family law, court reform, and reform of the GAL system. I'm firmly opposed to this bill in its current form, as it does not address the real issues I'm seeking reform on, real and meaningful reform. This bill is a start, but it does not go far enough in preventing abuse of our children or the desecration of parental interests in equal and shared parenting. It contains no new oversight or additional recourse to amend, rectify, or correct corrupt and unprofessional conduct by GALs. Additionally, it does not clearly define the role of a GAL within the court system, nor does it define or address the standard of professionalism in or outside of the court. Finally, it fails to address salary caps or fees associated with court-appointed guardians. I guess you could ask, what is a GAL service worth? The answer to that question will depend on who you ask. I assure you, you won't find a parent here today who will tell you their GAL deserves more money. So is a GAL worth $15,000 a case, $50,000 a case, $185,000 a case? Are all the GALs worth the same amount of money? Now, I know there are a few good GALs, but there are a lot more untrained and even more corrupt GALs in the system, some acting as outlaws. They run this money-making marathon unchecked, undisturbed, and unaccountable. There's no value in a GAL who is corrupted by the money-making system. A GAL doesn't advocate for a child's best interest. The value of my GAL, well, let's just say I'll maintain my professional demeanor. I found Amy Horowitz, my GAL, incompetent to represent my child. After a year of unnecessary delays, Amy was cross-examined on the stand and testified in 2008 that it was in my child's best interest to be reunited with me. Again, 2008. It's 2014, and I haven't seen or spoken to my child since 2007. Amy has taken no action on behalf of my daughter, her client. Instead of bridging the issue between parents for the betterment of my daughter, Amy embraced and encouraged hostility and nurtured further parental alienation. Amy resorted to trickery, deceit, court delays, unethical practices, and violated standing court orders. And she continues to do so today. I took action. I filed a grievance with the statewide grievance council. I have a copy of that here today. The grievance was quickly dismissed. Why? Because simply there's no oversight for these people, and they're all interconnected. They insulate each other, and they believe they are untouchable. It's basically the best-fed foxes guarding the well-fed foxes who are feeding on the chicks in the hen house. You have two active GALs as chairpersons on a task force panel considering legislative reform in the GAL system. This should demonstrate the well-fed fox theory. I'm holding a court order which states I'm entitled to medical and school records for my daughter, and I need them for tax purposes. Amy refuses to give them to me. There's a copy of the court order. I'm going to cut short and wrap up for you, sir.
Thank you.
This bill is a start, but it's not what we need. We need reform which includes full disclosure of fees charged by GALs, real and independent oversight for allegations of misconduct. We need an outside attorney-led oversight committee. I'd like to see specific language regarding the role of a GAL and a defined set of responsibilities and framework that they must work within, limits on a case cost with flat rate fees, a presumption of shared parenting, and equal access to the norm in most cases. These changes are desperately needed, and I hope they receive your full attention. My name is Daniel Swoverland. I'm a voter, a taxpayer, and a father. My daughter is a victim of parental alienation, a victim of a GAL misconduct, and a victim of our corrupt family court system. The last birthday I spent with her was on March 31st, 2007. She was 8 years old. Today's her 15th birthday. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Swoverland. Now, let me be clear. Did you say you were testifying for Martha Swoverland, or this is you're testifying
for my
regarding
wife,
your experience?
I'm testifying my experience for my wife. We both have numbers. I took her number first.
Okay, so the daughter that you're referencing, was that a daughter from another relationship?
That was from my previous marriage, sir, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Are there questions for Mr. Swoberland? Senator Meyer?
I assume you had an attorney during this period, right?
Yes, I did, sir.
And was your attorney unable, at your request, to take any initiative to have a review of the guardian and possibly a replacement?
Well, that's kind of interesting, sir, and I'll try to answer that question as directly as I can, but it's kind of complex. My guardian ad litem likes to play kind of cat and mouse and put up roadblocks in certain people's ways so that she can kind of manipulate things to her advantage. And one of the things I'd like to say, and this is kind of directed towards Judge Solomon and what he was saying.
I don't think you're answering my question. I'm asking, didn't your attorney play a role in this and have an initiative to bring about a better result?
My attorney asked Amy Horowitz to step down in her representation of my child. Amy Horowitz refused to do so, even though I filed a grievance against her. I have no other recourse to get her removed from the case at this point in time.
Okay. Your attorney didn't tell you that you could make a motion to remove the guardian?
At this point in time, I'm going to proceed with that on my own and represent myself pro se to do that, but I've lost all my funding to pay these attorneys to file motions and such.
Others with questions? Representative Gonzalez?
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. I think that I remember that you came when we were playing the movie.
Yes, sir.
Divorce Court, right?
I was here. I had my popcorn.
Right, you have your popcorn, okay. And also I remember your sad story about your daughter when they asked her who was the favorite person in her life. I remember that. I think that I got a drawing in my office. So thank you for coming. So you said that between you and your wife, ex-wife, you guys agreed to resolve this out of court.
My ex-wife and I both went through our divorce. There was a certain stipulation in place regarding custody where I had primary custody. A legal action came into play, as I've spoken to you about before, where my custody was suspended. I went back to court. We went through family evaluations. The family court ruled in my favor that I should see my daughter. The custody evaluations came back that it was in my child's best interest to see my daughter. My attorney put Amy Horowitz on the stand, who Amy testified it was in the best interest to see my daughter. The criminal order, the criminal court put in a restrictive criminal protection order, so I couldn't see my daughter, which blocked the family court's ruling. And Amy Horowitz refused to discuss the situation with the criminal court because it was not her responsibility, though she was supposed to be advocating for what was in the best interest of my daughter.
So that was Amy Horowitz, the guardian ad litem.
Yes, ma'am.
So that means, again, what I said before, the evaluation from the family matters, they don't care. If they don't agree with it because they are not defending the best interest of the kid. They're defending their best interest of their pocket. And that's what I was saying before. So how long you been back and forth?
I have been back and forth through this process since May of 2007.
Since 2007. And your divorce is over?
My divorce is over. I've been remarried for almost 2 years. I'm raising somebody else's child as my own. But yet I can't see my daughter, speak to her, send her a birthday card, or anything else.
And how much it cost up to now?
Rough estimate, probably about $65,000 I've spent.
$65,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't know how much your ex?
My ex-wife probably has not spent a nickel. She's had basically the system and Amy Horowitz fighting her battle and putting up roadblocks free of charge since day one.
So they are planning to finish you pretty soon, huh?
Pretty much.
That's their tactic. Well, let's see what we can do about this. I remember your story, and I know that based on your daughter, she's anxious to see you and spend time with you, more time. But and I hope that everything works okay for you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Have a good day. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Representative Barham?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions to clarify what I heard or perhaps didn't hear correctly. Did you indicate in your testimony that the guardian ad litem and the custody report that may have been done recommended that you have visitation and see your child?
Yes, sir, I did. The report came back and recommended immediate reunification with my child. The guardian ad litem kind of roadblocked and delayed the process for about 6 months before she was finally forced into court and put on the stand by my custody attorney, where at that point in time she testified it was in my child's best interest to see me. Yet, I haven't seen my child.
And then, did I hear you correctly indicate that the criminal court, which had jurisdiction over something, entered a protective order precluding you from seeing your child?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Did you return to criminal court to address that issue?
I did. Once the sentencing guidelines were complete with the criminal court, I went back requesting a modification, which was denied.
So isn't it correct then that the obstacle for seeing your child really rests with the criminal court, not the family court?
The obstacle in seeing my child now does lie with the criminal court. However, the family court process was delayed for almost a year and a half before I could get in there and get a ruling and get the information which was valuable to the best interests of my child. So long that the criminal court actually took actions that they probably wouldn't have taken had they had the information and the ruling from the family court at an earlier time.
So your frustration, if you will, is the length of time that the family court may have taken in your case, but the actual obstacle toward reunification visitation is really with the criminal side.
That is correct. Again, but I am frustrated with the delays in the family court system, the cost of the family court system, and what I would consider unprofessional and malicious acts by the guardian ad litem, in my case, prior to her being put on the stand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there other members with questions? If not, we thank you very much, Ms. Swoboden.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.